Welcome back to another episode of Digital Nomad Series with myself, Alejandra, and the CEO of Luz Collective, Lucy Flores. We chat with Lucy about what it means to be a digital nomad and so much more. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Hola. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What was that? I'm coming to you live from Playa del Carmen from my Airbnb kitchen.
You're not looking to go and have the superficial experience where you do this spiritual journey and then you dip out, or you eat the food and then you head out, or all of these things that we see time and time again, people capitalize or monetize, and then that's it. There's nothing being done about the spaces that we decide to take a part in or join, or the people that we come in touch with, right? So I think you say it so beautifully and give great examples of the way in which, whether you're looking to travel to a new space and be there for 6 months, a year, or 2 days, or a week, these are the things that we have the ability to do to be more authentic with our mission, our purpose, and with the communities that we're coming in touch with.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's like, look, capitalism in general is extractive. It is what it is, right? Like we are in this global capitalistic construct, and we're forced to live in it. You there's I know plenty of anti-capitalists who dream of some different system under which they try to operate, but at the end of the day, it's impossible, right? We are fully integrated into a capitalistic system, but that does not mean that we cannot do and change various behaviors and things in order for us to be less extractive, right? Like if you are going to travel to Tulum, then do your research, figure out how you can support a local business or a local eco-conscious organization, or whoever's doing work on the ground, and figure out how you can be a part of supporting organizations and businesses that are actually trying to do something about it, right? Like I think like to just say, well, you're never going to do anything, you're never going to purchase anything, you're never going to travel anywhere is not realistic, right? And so we have to then ask ourselves, okay, how do I be better? How do I, like I said, become a part of a solution in some way? How can I, in Spanish, pon tu grano de arena, right? Like your thing on, what's it called? Thank you. Your thing of sand. And I think that we can all do that, and yeah, someone just said you can be respectful and live authentically even when traveling, and that's absolutely true. And it doesn't, because of COVID, obviously, travel is not what it used to. It's probably not going to be what it used to be for a very, very long time. And so even when we talk about just how we live, and when so many people now are working from home, and so they're able to, spend months at a time in a different city, or, with family in different places, we can always think about how we participate in our community, even if it's not even if it's not in a permanent situation.
Right. And so in your case, you decided to make the move out there. Do you feel like this is your community? Have you adjusted? Do you feel like, man, I could see myself actually probably being here?
I feel like it's community to my community, to the extent that I feel like I am conscious of community no matter where I go. Yeah. I'm one of those people, especially when I travel, that yeah, I'll do the touristy, the quote unquote touristy stuff. I want to see the sights, but I also spend as much time, if not more, talking to cab drivers, talking to locals, asking what do they do, where do they eat, and discovering what the community is really like outside of just the tourist traps. And so I think, I am not ready to settle anywhere, to be honest. I don't see myself living in one city for years at this point. Again, that's what's so great about being able to work from home and as long as you have an internet connection, you can do your job wherever you're at. And so no, I don't see this as a place that I want to live in for, years and years, but I do see it as my community. I very much see it as my community. And especially because, it's my roots. That's the other wonderful thing about it, is that um, it's so funny here. The Mexican people are really not used to interacting with Mexican Americans.
Mm.
And so I will speak English, and then I will also speak Spanish. I'm fully bilingual. And whenever I start speaking Spanish, they're like, "Oh my God, why do you speak Spanish?" And I don't speak it with an accent. So they're always like amazed. And I'm like, "Porque soy mexicana." And they're like, "Oh, eres mexicana?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my parents were born here. Like, I was born in the United States, but I'm Mexican." And they're always like, "Wow," and I'm just like, it's pretty common actually, folks. There's, and so it's really cool because you're also exposing the locals to culture that they're not aware of, and they start to see like, wow, that the Mexican culture and your pride in your roots and your history is alive and well, even in a different country,
Yeah.
and so it's great because it's again, it really is about being able to not only work and see and live in these beautiful places, but to, develop your own personal development,
Yeah.
and being able to like experience and really like and just have a much deeper, meaningful journey for yourself, as you begin to discover like so many cool aspects of your culture and who you are and your gender.